So here we are in Egypt. Where are we right now?
We are in Abu Simbel, and this is in the far south of Egypt. We're down almost to the border of Sudan, and we came down here to see the great temple of Ramses the Great and his wife Nefertari, which is right over there on Lake Nasser.
Right, we went there at sunrise this morning, which was amazing. Yeah, and I know you've been taking people on this trip through Egypt for 15, 16 years,
hmm
and I know it's something that's really close to your heart. And for me, I've wanted to come on this trip for many, many years, and finally did it. And it's been like 100%, 150% a huge pleasure and a huge learning. It's been, I can't even describe how amazing it's been. And I've loved every moment. And the way that you've refined this trip over the years to be both a deep experience of presence and of the wisdom of ancient Egypt, that ends up being both a sort of an individual journey for all of us and also a group experience, and also just a deep study of the high wisdom of ancient Egypt. I bet a lot of people are wondering, like, you're an Enneagram guy, you're most well
You
known
too,
for being
Enneagram human
yeah,
person,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, Enneagram people. And I bet a lot of people are wondering, like, why ancient Egypt? What is it about the spiritual, wisdom and culture of ancient Egypt that has really impacted you, and how is that connected to the Enneagram?
Well, it's not an easy or a direct kind of connection. Uh, I don't think there were ancient Egyptians going, "Yes, my child, you were a two," or anything like that.
Right.
That didn't happen, and so we don't want to overstate it. Um, but let's just say that there is a philosophical framework and a view of what humanity is, what we are as human beings, how we connect with the larger cosmos, the idea of centers, the idea that we are a consciousness based in presence. A lot of things that we might take for granted had to have a beginning, and they tend to have their beginning here. So I think that rather than seeing Egypt as some sort of validation of the Enneagram, I think it's more that the Enneagram, for me, ignites my interest in aspects of Western philosophy and religion and the roots of the ways we look at things. And so clearly the self-knowledge part, clearly how they viewed that reality was composed of different qualities that science is still seeking to uncover how that all works. Very fundamental. And there are places also, especially when you get down to the Gurdjieff version of the Enneagram, the law of three, the law of seven, the law of one. These things are very explicit
Right.
in ancient Egypt. And we know that Gurdjieff kind of got his idea crystallized when he was visiting here as a young man. So all of those things I think are very central for me and kind of corroborating of a lot of things I've been interested in for a long time.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree with everything you've said, and for me, it's like I've heard you say, ancient Egyptian culture was alive and present for thousands of years, and it seems that they really developed a high level of presence of spiritual attainment
hmm
here on Earth, and it's been downhill from there potentially since. But I think, like you're saying, sort of the cosmic laws behind the Enneagram that we learn from Gurdjieff, the Enneagram as a symbol of a kind of universal path of transformation. That to me answers the question of, like, why are we here?
Yeah.
What's the human purpose? And so we see this culture that in so many ways, and I think in ways that we can't even really fathom or perceive completely, because we can't get our linear, analytical minds into the state that they, I think, achieved in terms of how they related to nature and the stars and all of this. But I think we see over and over again when we go to all these sacred sites and these temples, the law of three, you know, the importance of numbers as divine principles,
Yes.
the importance of gods as personifications of aspects of ourselves that we need to learn about and understand and master and rise above. The idea of that you've pointed out so many times in the temples, there's the animal in us, and then there's the divine birthright that we can achieve if we do the work to
Yes.
sort of master the animal in us, not get rid of it, but tame it or balance it with the higher parts of ourselves.
Yes, absolutely. That whole root of alchemy. It always strikes me when I'm here too, to remember how early on some of the crucial ideas for the Western religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Greek philosophy, Greek science, a lot of them had their genesis here, and we didn't learn that in school.
Right.
But when you get here and see it with your own eyes, it's quite evident that people from a very early stage understood some of these principles as you were just describing.
Yes, and I think sometimes some of us in the West look to the East as the source of spiritual truth,
Yeah.
where we have a Western tradition that I think comes from this kind of perennial philosophy, this core wisdom that you see at the root of all the world's religions that originated or at least came through ancient Egypt in the ways that we can really see that have correspondences to what we talk about in the Enneagram.
Yeah. So I hope that this is intriguing for people and stimulates an interest to look into some of these very ancient ideas and roots of the Enneagram system that we're working with today.
Exactly. We hope you look beyond the types to really what it means to transform using the Enneagram and seeing it as this map of kind of universal timeless process that was understood in ways that we're still trying to decode in the time of the ancient Egyptians. And I just want to thank you, Russ, for the way you lead this trip and the way you point us back to this really, really, really important sort of set of core truths and the ways that they were expressed by the ancient Egyptians. Thank you.
Thank you, B. It means the world to me that you came on this trip with
Uh,
me and that we got to explore this stuff
I
together.
was looking so forward to it, and it exceeded all my expectations. So thank you. It's been a joy.
Thank you, B. And thank you, folks, for checking it out.
Yeah.